My name is Maren Hange, and I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia, Charlottesville Mennonite Church. The door to Orienting with the Word stood wide open. I had spoken with Naomi. I had a small youth group with whom I had already been engaging in artful responses, but I felt like I was missing something in the Bible studies. And my calendar was free for the times that the cohorts were meeting. All I needed was one excited person in my congregation to go with me, because for the cohorts you have a pastor and a lay person. So I approached someone who loves to teach adult Bible studies in our congregation. And I was met with zero interest. Then I approached somebody who is very creative and loves to work with children. Again, I was met with zero interest. I didn't know where to turn next. We are a small congregation. I had spoken a little bit about this orienting with the Word. And one of the parents from one of the youth came to me and expressed interest. And so we went back in September to Laurelville, and we engaged the scriptures of the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. And I've been a pastor for 26 years, and so I have worship led or preached on this text probably 26 times. My husband and I co-pastor. But it was a rich time of questions, of entering into the text. But the parent that came with me caught fire. We went back home, and she got her small group back together that hadn't met for 5 years. There was a couple in their 60s, a guy in his 40s, a new young woman to our church in her 30s, and the parents' family. And so we experimented a little bit with having the small group and the youth group meet together and separate, and in the end decided the youth wanted to be on their own. But what is really exciting, it became known in our church as the thing Hange is doing. It is not the pastor's thing, but it is Hange's thing. I was scheduled to preach on the last Sunday of the church year, the last Sunday before Advent, which is traditionally also known as Christ the King Sunday. And so I decided to use one of the texts from Orienting with the Word, the 1 Samuel 8 text, where the people come to Samuel and want a king. They want to be like all the nations around them. Because somebody, when we studied that text in the small group, actually that was one of the times that the youth was there too, somebody asked, would we celebrate Advent and Christmas in the same way if God's people had not asked for a king? Would we wonder, where is the newborn king of the Jews? And so we've been using the Anabaptist Bible in our worship services, so I used the CEV version of the scripture as I was preaching. And afterwards, somebody came to me from that small group and said, I was wondering why that text was so familiar. And it took me a while to realize that was the same text. But he said, the translation that Orienting with the Word provided was way better than the version in this in the worship service. Another person came to me and said, when we studied that text, the next morning I woke up and I was thinking, oh, for artful response, I could have done this or that or so. And her imagination was just growing in terms of what to do for artful response. So I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to be part of this program.